We got fuel coming from everywhere, don't we? Well, that just happened. This car needs to be running, this car needs to be driven, and this car needs a bath. There are cat prints on it. I don't have a cat. Behind me, as some of you may recognize, is my 1954 Chevrolet. Technically 210 Deluxe, even though we put on some of that Bel Air jewelry. I went to take it to a car show the other day, and by the other day I mean 9 months ago, and the generator wasn't generating. So I had a new rebuilt generator on the shelf, so I pulled it off and put it on, and we still weren't generating. So I pulled it right back in here. Then I did the right thing. I jumped in the big Blazer, rode to the car show, had a hot dog. Since then, all I did to it was burgle the battery. While these tires have plenty of tread on them, I put them on here 20 years ago. First car. Just a wee lad. Took me 5 years to build it. And I've hardly ever driven it because I've never, ever trusted it because of me. What's inspired this is really kind of the wrong thing, but on the internets the other day, I found a 256 gear 10-bolt rear end. This thing has a 4-speed in it. That would essentially make fourth gear, which is a 1-to-1 drive, function essentially like an overdrive. This would be a highway contender in modern traffic. It's got a 57 Chevy rear end with 354 gears, which was great when the speed limit was 55. That's a little bit of a problem. Not the thing that's keeping it off the road by any stretch of the imagination, but if it's the thing that gets us working on it and putting it back on the road, I'll take it. So we got to see if it'll run after sitting for 9 months. 9 months ago, I think last summer, I don't even remember. At some point relatively recently, I rewired the entire car, put a headliner in it, put a brand new 4-barrel carburetor on it, new intake. It was running really well, and then I didn't do anything with it. I've probably gummed up that carburetor. The battery's probably unhappy from being in and out. We'll see if we can get it to run. We'll try to pull it out, sneak it past the other neglected vehicle in the yard, and then we're gonna see if we can get the Model T out and roll it back where the Chevy was so that we can just spend a few days taking a break from this while still doing car stuff, you know? I love that car. I can't ever get rid of it, and if it's gonna sit there and rot away, we may as well be putting the miles on it and having it wear down on the road, because it deserves way better than that. This battery is old enough to have been used in a chariot. In case anybody's wondering, I know all over the country there's mice and there's rats that get into these things when they're parked. In the southeast, and maybe where you are too, these things become spider farms. The most reluctant spider I've ever met, the one that doesn't want anything to do with you and finds the hidden tiny places just to stay the hell out of your way, it's the black widow. They're everywhere under these cars. They don't bother you, except that I gotta deal with them because I gotta get into the car, you know what I'm saying? They don't know what this is. They just thought it was a happy place away where they could eat some mosquitoes. So I'm walking through spider webs everywhere I go. I can tell it's from the ancient times because it's a Duralast Gold, which means I bought it from an AutoZone, which means that's from before the times that I had an account at O'Reilly, and that's before the times that I can remember. Critters? Critters? Okay. So, before I put that 4-barrel on it, I'd put an auxiliary fuel pump in here because, why did I do that? Oh, I thought I had a vapor lock issue. I didn't. I had terrible carburetors. Let's see. Nope. Nope. Yep. Oh, kind of forgot. There's a couple other trick things I did. So I put this light here. That's nice, right? Dim, bright, if you want to look cool. And then this switch right here is a get off my butt switch that momentarily engages the brake lights. Sounds like it's got fuel running through it. guess we could just try it. All right, we're in neutral. Neutral. Can you believe it? It's idling. It's idling. It's idling. It's idling. It's idling. I don't understand. Oh, thank you. I can't hug you too tight. I gotta get back in. Oh my God. Oh my God. Why am I not driving this thing every day? I cannot believe it. I just can't. Man. Okay, I'm gonna try to back it out of here, and then we'll figure out what to do next. I cannot believe it. 9 months. 9 months. Easy 9 months. It was like last September. It's mid-July. Unreal. When you see a web that's all chaotic like that, you got one of two things, man. You got killer clowns from outer space, or you got black widows. I'd rather have black widows. We've been fighting it out with the Model T. We're making progress. It's hard fought. I just need a minute. It needs a break. It's like been in the dentist chair for too long. So we're just gonna do a little swapperoo, keep it protected. I don't know if I can get it in the other garage by myself now that I think about it, but we are going to try. All right, gang, I pushed this a little further than I needed to because I wanted to show you this. I love it. It's exactly what I was hoping for with the stance of this thing. The back of this thing is about as high as the roof of this car, which this is chopped and lowered and all that stuff. But the trend in hot rodding for the last 20 years almost has been like chopped, sectioned, channeled, airbagged, sit on the frame, so low. And it's that movie, whatever it is, I'll put the clip up here, that I always dug, and there's a Model T in it, and I love the fact that it pulls in next to an unchopped 50s car, and it's just as high. There's something about that that I've been pretty into for a long time. So anyway, just seeing them next to each other, it's kind of cool. I dig it. Now I gotta get that thing inside, and it smells a little of gas, so we should look at that. Speaking of places for hidden creepy crawlies, let's put my hands in there. Nothing to see. Guess we're all right. I'm scared of screwing it up. It's awfully low by design. Let's push our luck. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You gotta sit tight. My nerves are like, I should check the rear end measurements and see, because this dude's, we've been talking a lot, and when you're talking a lot about a single part, I kind of owe it to him to get the dimensions and decide whether or not I'm going to buy the thing. I hope it fits. Honestly, it would be great to slap in a 10 bolt and take out this 57 rear end with better gears. Like, just bam, done.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
Man, can you tell that I'm a little amped up? I'm not on the cocaine or anything. Enthusiasm for old cars going my way today. Like, not to jinx it, knock on wood, but you know, it's been a little bit of a struggle the last few days. Woo! One of the reasons I'm thinking about putting the Model T in the garage space next door, if I can manage to push it, is when I get under here, I expect to see a host of things that I did 20 years ago that I don't remember, that I didn't do well because I was laying on my mother's garage floor under a lowered car doing everything for the first time. We could see some scary stuff, and I'd rather just solve what I see. I know that's against my while we're in there philosophy, but this car is earned while we're in there for sure. Feel like I'm about to get full John Goodman arachnophobia style. First things first, we are pouring fuel. So I did smell gas. There it is. We got a leak at the hard line, we got a leak at the fuel pump. Problem is, that's gonna keep siphoning out right there, isn't it? We gotta get a container stat. If I wrap a rag around the connection, it continues to leak. So I think it's actually leaking from up here. Oh yeah, which is this thing. So that fuel pump is shot. No big deal. We can deal with that. But we gotta make it stop. So maybe I can clamp off this fuel line. All right, we got a container under it for now. C-clamp on it. No, that's not a C-clamp, gang. That's some vice grips. It says right there on the side. Let's check out our spider collection. There's one. There used to be one. All in all, it's not terrible under here. Although, I'm looking at the patchwork on the floors. And I remember, I don't have any money. So, it's like Dolly Parton's coat of many colors. It's a patchwork quilt of every little piece of steel I had, and I flux cored them all in because I couldn't afford an argon tank. Oh, good times. I can't ever get rid of this thing, so we got to drive the pants off it. Pinion angle looks a little off at this point now that I'm eyeballing it. And I tried to do this on my back last night under the car, and I just couldn't do it. I was just chest deep in spiders. I just aborted the mission, and we are here. And then I gotta check outside to outside. On a car that's lowered this much, I'll tell you what, it is difficult to get the measurements because it's difficult to get the tires off. Because you basically have to jack the frame up and then the wheel, and then you can get it out. Because if I just lift the wheel up, it'll be so far up in the wheel well, we'll never get there. We're still running 1 3/4 springs, and check this out. That's kind of fun. So right there it says Josh Mills on it. Back when I was just a wee lad, Josh Mills was a good friend of mine who became my boss and mentor at Joe Smith Early Ford and then Mills & Company Hot Rods, and he ordered these for me from Posey's. These must be the Posey Super Slide 2-inch drop springs that go in the same spring hangers on your 54. I don't even know if they're still in business. Which is a reminder that one of the things that makes pre-55 cars difficult build, especially if it's your first go, is in order to do a motor swap, which I was going to do anyway because at that point the magazines had me convinced that you had to change motors, like you needed a 350/350 combo or your car would never work. That's what all the magazines said back in the day. I digress. Because the pre-55 cars, that's just going to be my cutoff, have torque tubes most of the time. Buicks ran even a little later than that, I think. The torque tube is a single piece drive shaft that runs from the transmission to the rear end. And there's a couple things that you've got to deal with that. And that's not only if you're going to put in a new open drive system, which is the same thing people do on early Ford hot rods. The one difference is once you have parallel leaf springs, the wheels, the center of the springs and the center of the wheel wells, it's not all the same thing. So you'll see there's an offset here. I made a thingamadoodle. So the pin for the spring is here, and then the rear end is offset back behind that. And that keeps it centered in the wheel well, and it has to do with the geometry of the torque tube not binding. Little things you gotta learn along the way, gang. What I need to know is how wide this rear end is. Mounting surface to mounting surface. Yep, she's low. That frame rail's 6.5 inches off the ground. So what a guy. And I guess that's the thing. I could jack it up at the wheel on the axle and then get something under the frame, because what else am I gonna do than lower the axle back down? This is just to take the tire off, team. I think that's what I gotta do, but to do that, I gotta lower this whole thing back down. All right, well, that's what you gotta do. You gotta do it. Gang, this is so sketchy. Didn't even have a chance to bring you along. It started to work, and I thought, I better just do this before I think. So, yeah, the jack's half hanging off the thing. The jack stand's kind of there. Yeah, so now I gotta get this thing off, and there was this time where I popped this, the driver's side rear hubcap off, and inside was this cotton candy looking scary web. So here I am looking for Killer Clowns from Outer Space or Black Widows. I'm holding the hubcap and I'm looking around. Guess who is in the hubcap? Guys, welding gauntlets are the ultimate glove. Not only are they great for welding, they're the best for barbecuing, and they're also not so bad at spider wrangling. Anybody home? Nah. Dud. Put them in the hubcap like Ralphie. Oh, fudge. What's behind door number 2? I don't see you, but I know you were there. Great googly moogly. Much evidence of former inhabitants. Potentially current inhabitants. We don't know. We're not sure. They're everywhere, man. All right, so the mounting surface. Back of the drum to the mounting surface is 3 3/8, 3.5, whatever. That's pretty standard Chevy. So I'm gonna get this wheel back on before this whole thing comes crashing down. Then we'll measure drum to drum, lifting it back up. Because my fuel leak hasn't stopped either, so I gotta figure out why come. It's very strange. There appear to be 2 different kinds of brake drums. This one does not sleeve over the backing plate. This one does. Don't know. Anywho, I had to guesstimate. I did some measuring, backing plate to backing plate, added some math, did some things. I think his rear end is 1 inch wider than mine, and I think it's safe to say I've got the room. I mean, that's our tightest spot right there. So if it went out a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch or whatever, we still are a-okay, and I don't see me running any kind of bigger tires in the future. Not my style. Doug, getting your stink on? Alright gang, I've had this cash for 2 days. I sold a 9-inch rear end for 200 bucks because guy had it, guy needed it for a project. It was in my backyard. We were gonna do some horse trading for 10 bolt, but he ended up taking it all apart. I'm not putting it back together for him. So I sold it for 200 bucks because why the hell not? I mean, people list them for $1 billion. It took me 2.5 weeks to sell it, listed at 250 bucks. Anyway, that said, we got it out of the yard. That's great. But now I got $200 cash in my pocket, so we're gonna go buy whatever this Camaro rear end is, and hopefully stop by Summit Racing, get the purchase we need, and we should be turning around to install this. If any of you are inclined to remind me that I pulled the Chevy in the garage just for the purpose of fixing the charging issue, I kind of remember that. Dun, 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 dun. I wonder if they sell those big ass flags. I don't think so. Anyway, we made it to Summit. This is a good hour and change from my house, but it's awful convenient, all things considered. Means when they ship stuff to me, it gets there lickety-split. But today, we got a brand new to us rear end in the back, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna need to put on some new purchase. So, we can buy some new purchase, like right now, I hope. Look at this. So you want a 5-speed, huh? Gang, they got a scratch and dent section. Scratch and dent is my middle name. Sneaking out of there. I didn't film too much in there, mostly because I'm too embarrassed to film myself in a place like that. I can't believe it, but I made it out of the scratch and dent section without buying a single thing, which is remarkable because I even buy scratch and dent fruit and vegetables. If I'm at the grocery store and it says manager special, like about to turn, I'm taking that home. That's dinner tonight. I was getting lost in there, almost buying things I absolutely don't need for cars I don't have. Like Roaring Springs for a Ford Expedition. They were cheap, man. They were cheap. But I didn't. We just got one sack of stuff. Hell yeah, look at that guy. Or lady. Or lady. Well, that just happened. 210's normal for this truck, or at least reading on that gauge. But like, the needle just went stroing. So we're running the heat and the fan. It is 91 degrees. We've been on the road for over an hour. You know, sure. Well, we return triumphant. Oh crap, we still gotta install it.